So the final bit we're going to have a chat about this morning is what kind of other additional activities can we be doing, or different things can we be doing during lockdown. I have a couple of things noted down and a couple of thoughts around different areas. But once again, I'm going to be quiet for a few moments and use those as additional things after hearing a few ideas from some other people, hopefully, because it's about just sharing what kind of things we are doing, we want to be doing, that type of stuff, either as individuals or within a club setting, as to how we're maintaining that paddling community going forwards, really.
Can I start? We've got a Facebook page where we have had various competitions as to which river and various other games and things. We've also had one of our paddlers put up an exercise video of stretching and shoulder work during the lockdown. But we've also spent time doing a 3-year development plan and looking at our new grant applications.
Of course, yeah. So it's definitely a good time for looking at grant applications and thinking about bringing through new coaches, that sort of things, and what areas maybe as a club we need to be progressing forwards with, and for that planning process, because we've got plenty of time for planning because we've got less time for doing it at the moment, which is not a bad thing always, to have extra time for planning stuff. Cool. Did anyone have any other aspects?
We as a club started this Zoom. We're going to have a weekly meeting on our club night. So we keep that as a time that everybody gets together. The technology is the forefront. We're all learning how to use these things. And it's a slow process, but it's something that at least we can see each other and keep ourselves enthusiastic and motivated. I think it's a plus side, and everybody seems to be happy with at least seeing each other now and again.
Yeah, and for me, that's one of the big things, like, keeping people together. Like, as I mentioned earlier on, we're a social group of people that happen to do something that's physically active. It's that community that we're within, and seeing those same people and communicating with those same people will keep those clubs and those environments together. So when we are able to get back out, we know who we're going out with still, and we can get straight on with things rather than getting to know people again and starting off from scratch, really.
We're just using the things the Canoe Wales are putting up on the Facebook page, really, which, yeah, some of those are great, or most of them are great.
Yeah, so the daily train aspects, so we're trying to keep things fairly diverse, but pretty much on that same subject around paddling and what we're doing and what kind of things people can be doing. So yeah, physical activity aspects, some coaching aspects, thought processes, a bit around mindfulness, different disciplines hopefully being covered as we're going along as well. So we're trying to tick as many boxes as possible without just being physical activities as well, which I think is quite nice to have a bit of diversity in there.
Have you done one on maintenance? I'm sure you probably have, but sort of kit maintenance, that might be useful.
I'm not sure. I think there's been one or two that's been added into there. I don't know if they've come up yet, but that's definitely something which would be pertinent at the moment, is checking through our safety kit, checking through throw bags, tapes, our carabiners, are all these things working properly? Hopefully nothing's seized up. Are our knives in good condition? Are they working properly? Like, it's definitely a good time at the moment to go through all of our safety kit and to make sure that things are working as properly as they need to be, so that we can just pick up a bag and go when we are able to get back out again. But yeah, I'll have a look, and I'll make sure that if there hasn't been one already, that we have that safety maintenance side of things happening fairly soon. Just because I know I've added in different videos. I just don't remember exactly what's gone on yet and what I've looked at ready to go on.
Yeah.
Reece, can I just jump in?
Yeah.
Are we as clubs starting to think about how we're going to operate with government restrictions, guidelines, and stuff like that in a couple of weeks' time potentially? And I'm guessing at that. Obviously, we know what's happened, what the restrictions are in England at the moment, and you can kind of rightly or wrongly assume that it's going to be something similar in 2 to 3 weeks' time in Wales. So is it possible to open up your club? Will there be some club activities, and how we're going to manage that might be something to start thinking about as we get closer to that time?
Well, Llangollen Canoe Club's got a problem in that it's all about shuttles really, and we can't really do a shuttle within the social distancing. So I think people will have to just sort of do their own thing for a while until I don't know, until there's a vaccine really. But I'm not sure how we can get around the shuttle until there's a vaccine.
Okay, so
unless we can organise a bicycle or sort of or some sort of tandem.
Yeah. So linked in with that then. So do you have a clubhouse? Do people have to access the boat store to get kit out of and stuff like that?
Yeah, we have a container that's full of
okay.
kit.
So that might be a contamination point in the future.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you might need to look at how that's managed.
Mm.
I mean,
we're just thinking we're going to go and take our sea kayaks and go out on a lake, or do stuff that doesn't involve the shuttle. But it's not really a club activity, but it's something to get going.
Yeah. And again, I guess it will depend on what the travel restrictions are and stuff like that eventually.
Yeah.
I think probably the hardest thing to deal with is a rescue situation, isn't it? Where you have to get someone back in the boat or to the shore or something like that. Yeah.
Yes and no, because it all depends on what that rescue situation is, isn't it? So if you're picking up somebody who's hanging on the back of your boat, for example, and you're towing them and their boat, for example, to the shore, then you're keeping that social distancing potentially.
Yeah. Yes, if you're offshore and had to put them back in a boat,
that's different.
We need to think about some way of trying to do that 2 meters apart.
So
only paddle long boats.
Yeah. But yeah, so these are all types of things we need to start probably considering and thinking about. We've actually been working behind the scenes for the last 2 to 3 weeks and doing a lot of that, working with British Canoeing as well, and Scottish Canoe Association and Canoe Association of Northern Ireland, and building the guidance around that. So when that day comes that we can start doing stuff, there will be some fairly clear guidance for you. But again, it's not going to be specific to every single club, because every club is different and works in a slightly different way and does different things on different environments. So it will be a generic set of guidelines. So it definitely would be worth thinking about how can we start that club activity back up again.
And does it look like the sort of release from lockdown in Wales is going to look like England does now? The same sort of pattern? Or you don't know?
Don't know. No, you kind of hope so. And all we're aware of is that Wales is probably 2 to 3 weeks behind England, and that's the concern, is they don't want to open up Wales too quickly. Okay. So it's going to be interesting times for a couple of weeks.
Our difficulty will probably be numbers. I saw something that said that by July that the assembly to be no more than 30 persons.
Crikey.
Well, if we do get that, then trying to manage a harbour session is going to be quite a challenge of actually frustrating people that they can't come.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think as we've been chatting at the moment, just thinking about what we could start when within our different sessions. So thinking of what sessions or what areas can we go to that don't need shuttles. So those are kind of the venues that we may be able to use once lockdown has been lifted. So the areas that don't need shuttles. So it could be, for instance, at JJ's kind of thing, just going like, you know, up and down in and around that kind of area, because you don't need to get off the water for there. You can park and play, or lake type sessions, that sort of things, harbour areas, there and back, sea trips, those types of things where you don't need shuttles could be a good thing to look at to start off with. And then thinking about the environment side of things. So who can go to what areas? We don't want to, like, you know, be overly negative, but thinking of those social distancing aspects, if we've got new people, perhaps the new paddlers going out on a section of grade 3 may not be so good to keep those social distances because we have to rescue them most likely a few times. So as we're planning sessions and thinking about post-lockdown, we can perhaps think about, yeah, the areas that we can go to with these that don't need shuttles, so where we can do trips to and from, or from and to from the same area. And then thinking about, yeah, what environments are we actually going to go out in to start to make things easier for people. So we've got a bit of a game plan then as individuals and as clubs then to move things forwards. I know for myself that that's one thing that I'm going to be doing fairly soon, is just thinking about, yeah, I know there's a few areas I can get to with ease, and where I don't need shuttles, where I can go and just start to enjoy a bit of time on the water again. At the moment, there isn't any water because everything's been fairly dry anyway. So at least that's a slight blessing that I'm not missing out on anything, because there's nothing to miss out on at the moment.
The sea's still there. That hasn't gone.
That's true. Yeah,
And there's been some big tides.
Yeah, I was supposed to be starting a sea trip on the 18th, but that's not going to be happening. So that's one of my year goals that I have to put on hold for a moment. And with that planning side of things as well, we can think about getting new people into a club maybe, or when we're able to start to do things, how things would look based on some of the chats we've had today, in and around getting new people into boats, getting new people to experience things from that start to discover awards, and planning sessions in and around that could be something to have a look at the moment, being we've got plenty of time to play around with ideas slightly. But those are my main things to play around with at the moment anyway.
I think the big problem is going to be new people, because as individuals we can all go somewhere we know we can handle, but new people, they're going to be difficult to handle, aren't they, with the kitting up and the various problems with the virus. Yeah, we probably would avoid new people, I think. But that's not what we want to hear.
That is it. What we should have been doing in the past is allowing the newbies to actually start from unloading the boats and putting their kit and getting that in. We tend to jump a couple of steps all the time and getting on the water, and that's it. You know, maybe something we need to change slightly for now. It's going to be difficult. I'm not saying it's easy, but
and like, you know, these newer paddlers coming in like, you know, it's going to be at least, I would say, it's going to be over a month, maybe 2 months before we're getting any new paddlers anyway, just because of perhaps social bubbles and that side of things. This is my personal opinion anyway. But it could be, as Errol mentioned, if we can educate them as to how to unload and load boats and kit themselves up from that first session, they may buy into things a little bit more because they're able to make more sense of everything that's going on. So the new people who are starting off may stay with the sport for longer than the people who we perhaps in the past overly mothered through everything and helped them too much. And perhaps by them gaining more independence, they may stay with things for longer. Don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's most things really. Were there any other questions that are related to these sessions rather than any questions about anything? Cool. That's most of everything for this morning, really. Those 20 minutes per thing, it's 5 to 11, so we're fairly close on our timings, which was pretty good. I just want to say thank you for everyone who did join this morning. Everything has been recorded, so if people have missed out, I will sort out how to upload things and how to get things into a place where other people can actually see it fairly soon. And hopefully catch everyone fairly soon. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon. If anyone did want to stay on and speak about anything else, I will stop the recording soon, and you can have any additional questions from there also.
Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you to Paul and Reese for setting this up. And yeah, I think it's a good session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you.